right. Check to see. Whoop. Yeah, we are online. And we are live. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight, because of this whole conflagration in Ukraine, we're going to chant the Nrsimhadev prayers for all the devotees and for everybody there. Namaste, Nada Srinmaya, Lada La, Doyane, Iranya Kashi, Purvakshaha, Shilatam Kana Kolai, Ituna Singa, Aretuna Singo, Yatoya, Ituna Singa. Bahina single, Rinayana single, a sing of a dim, a number of joy. The sing of a dim, a number of joy. The sing of a dim, a number of joy. Namaste, not a singer, but la la, die. Iranya Kasi Purvakshaha Silatam Kanakalai Itona Singa Paratona Singo Yato Yamitotona Singa Rahina Singo Ridayana Singo The Singa Madhya Nambra Pajoy the string of a team, Sharanambra for joy. Navagara come and love a brain, a come to sing. Dalita, Iranya Kasi Budano, Ringa. Esavadrita. Come and love and pray and come to sing. Dalita, Iranya Kasi Pudano, Ringa. Esavadrita, Adalari Rupa, Jagadisha, Ajay. Jai Jai Dagadisa Jai Navakara come and love and pray and come to string Dalita Irana Kasi Budano Bringa Samadrita, Nanahudi Rupa, Takadisa Day, Takadisa Day, Takadisa Day. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Day. Ati Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Ati Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Haribo Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paramdikacharya Olsateta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Mananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturanam Ki Jai Jagannatha Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamati Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarani. So, Om Ganat Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shlakya Chakshurun Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So today we're continuing with our study of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. And we are towards the end of chapter 24 in the Madhya Lila. We're in the middle of a purport, I believe text 330 of the 24th chapter. And the 24th chapter is entitled the Atmarama verse and 61 explanations of the Atmarama verse. Anyway, so we're getting to the end of this, and there's a lot of interesting information about devotional service in general and Krishna. So let's continue. So Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So in this purport, we're actually, or Prabhupada is talking about worship of demigods and how that's for less intelligent people, and it's not the authorized process unless one worships a demigod to get the favor of Krishna. So let's continue with this purport. It's a rather long purport. We left off in the middle of the purport, so let's continue. So we left off with the word which, it's easy to remember, is also stated by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 9:23. Ye pyanya devata bhakta yajante shaliyanvataha tepi mam eva konteya yajanta vidi purvakam. Those who are devotees of other gods and worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way or improper way. In other words, they don't know they're actually worshiping Krishna indirectly. Because everything in one sense is Krishna, and in another sense is not Krishna. Because everything is Krishna's energy. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktam murtina. Demigods are also living entities and parts and parcels of Krishna. Therefore, in one sense, one worships Krishna when one worships the demigods, but not in the proper way. There's a proper method to water a tree. One should water the root. But if one waters the leaves and branches instead, he is simply wasting his time. If one worships the demigods to the exclusion of Lord Vishnu, his rewards will only be material. as confirmed by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Andava tu palamit tesham tad bhavat yalpamedasam. Devan devad yigo yanti mad bhakta yanti mam api. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods we're in the middle of verse 330, the purport 330, Madhya Lila 24. Okay, somewhere in the middle of the purport. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Demigod worship is meant for unintelligent men because the benefits derived from demigod worship are all material, temporary, and retractable. Wow. It is also stated in the Padma Purana, Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahmarudradi Daivataha Samitnayanaiva Viksheta Sapashandi Bhavet Dhruvam. It's also cited in the Caitanya Caritamrta, Madhya Lila 18:116. Whoever thinks Lord Vishnu and the demigods are on the same level is to be immediately considered a rogue as far as spiritual understanding is concerned. Whew. There are three modes of nature, and in fact, any of you can become a demigod if you want. I don't. There are three modes of nature in the material world, but when one is situated spiritually, he is above the material modes, even though he lives in this material world, as Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 14th chapter, text 26. Mamchi yobhyavacharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatichaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. In material consciousness, however, even one who is situated in the mode of goodness is susceptible to pollution by the modes of passion and ignorance. When the mode of goodness is mixed with the mode of passion, one worships the sun god, Vivaswan. When the mode of goodness is mixed with the mode of ignorance, one worships Ganapati, or Ganesh. Now, this is interesting. Prabhupada, actually in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there is an injunction that one can worship Ganesh for getting rid of impediments to one's devotional service, particularly what we call anarthas, like lust, anger, greed, illusion, and envy. These are impediments. So there's a proper method to worship the demigods as servants of Krishna. Ganesh is actually a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Durga is a servant. So when the mode of passion is mixed with the mode of ignorance, one worships Durga or Kali, the external potency. When one is simply in the mode of ignorance, one becomes a devotee of Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva is the predominating deity of the mode of ignorance within this material world. However, when one is completely free from the influence of all the modes of material nature, one becomes a pure Vaishnava on the devotional platform. As Srila Rupa Goswami states in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anyabhilashata shunyam jnana karmana avritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhakti uttamam. That's from the CC 19167. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. So that's the nutshell verse for the whole Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which describes everything in a nutshell, a short form. Anya bilashata shunyam. One should be devoid of all impurities like jnana karma anavritam. Desire for liberation, desire just to get knowledge, or gross desires in this world. One desires gross things like cars and Dhanam Janam Sundarim, as described by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one should be devoid, or shunya means void, completely vacant, zero. And not only that, anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktirutamam, that one must be ready to offer service to Krishna, doing what he wants, and doing it in a spirit of love and devotion, not simply doing it ritualistically. Ritualistic service is not pure devotional service. Ritualistic service is karma bhakti, or karma mishra bhakti. Karma yoga, sorry. Karma yoga, not karma bhakti. So we are interested in bhakti yoga, which means basically giving your heart to Krishna. Connecting, yoga means to connect, and bhakti means to give your heart, or to give yourself, or to simply be interested in pleasing Krishna. The position of Vishuddha Sattva is the position of uncontaminated goodness. On that platform, one can then understand Rajo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadama Vrindavana. Wow. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Son of Ananda Maharaj, is to be worshipped along with his transcendental abode, Vrindavan. Wow. What a mantra. The word Sarva Mantra Vicharana in the present verse of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta means considering all different types of mantras. There are different kinds of mantras for different kinds of devotees. There is the mantra known as the Dwadasha Shakshara mantra, composed of 12 syllables, and there is the mantra composed of 18 syllables. Similarly, there are the Nrsimha mantra, the Rama mantra, Gopala mantra, and so on. Govinda mantra. Each and every mantra has its own spiritual significance. The spiritual master has to select a mantra for his disciple according to the disciple's ability to chant different mantras. And of course, the Hare Krishna mantra is meant for everybody. And each mantra, or each name of God, connects us to a specific form of the Absolute. If you chant Lord Nrsimhadev, you'll realize Lord Nrsimhadev, who is non-different from Krishna. And if you chant Ram, 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 then you'll realize Lord Ramchandra was non-different from Krishna. This is interesting. Mantra Adhikara, basically, who has the qualification? Mantra Adhikara, Mantra Siddhyadi, Shodhana. Diksha Prata, Smriti Kritya, Shocha Achavana. You should discuss the qualifications necessary for receiving a mantra, the perfection of the mantra, the purification of the mantra, initiation, morning duties, remembrance of the Supreme Lord, cleanliness and washing the mouth and other parts of the body. The following injunction is given in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa 194, because that's what Sanatana Goswami wrote, regarding mantra adhikar, the qualification for receiving mantra initiation. Now this is talking about Gayatri mantras. There's different Gayatri mantras which are called Pancharatriki mantras. Now everyone is qualified for receiving the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Dina hina yata chilo harinama udarilo. So we don't consider someone's qualification or disqualification when getting people to chant. In fact, we can even trick people to chant. Just say this mantra. I remember going on Sankirtan years ago and saying to people, just say Hare Krishna. And they said, no, I will not say Hare Krishna. And I said, oh, you just said Hare Krishna. So Tantrakeshu Chamantreshu Dikshayam Yoshitamapi Sadvinam Adikos the Shudradinam Sacha Sadhyam. Shudras and women who are chaste and sincerely interested in understanding the absolute truth are qualified to be initiated with the Pancharatriki mantras. This is confirmed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 9:32. Mami partha vyabhashritya yepishu papayonaya striyo vaishastata shudras tepi yanti paramgatim. Of Sanapata, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, and Shudras, can attain the supreme destination. If one actually wants to serve Krishna, it doesn't matter whether one is a Shudra, Vaishya, or even a woman. If one is sincerely eager to chant the Hare Krishna mantra or Diksha mantra, one is qualified to be initiated according to the Pancharatriki process. However, according to Vedic principles, only a Brahmin who is fully engaged in his occupational duties can be initiated. Shudras and women are not admitted to a Vedic initiation. Unless one is fit, according to the estimation of the spiritual master, one cannot accept a mantra from the Pancharatrika Vidi or the Vaitika Vidi. When one is fit to accept the mantra, one is initiated by the Pancharatriki Vidi or the Vaitika Vidi. In any case, the result is the same. So that may sound a little confusing to everybody. What is Pancharatrika, what is Vaitika, and what is Bhagawat Vidi? That's the other Vidi that's not even mentioned here. Okay, let me explain. So Vaitika means you got the four Vedas that had to be chanted precisely, the right meter, the right pronunciation. You had to have one Brahmin who was chanting, another Brahmin who was checking, another Brahmin who was correcting, another Brahmin who was correcting the one who was correcting, and checking the one who was correcting. And everything had to be pronounced precisely, and one had to be super qualified. Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, guess what? Guess what? Kalo Shudra Sambhava. No one is qualified to perform, almost no one. There may be a rare person that we don't know about. I'm sure there may be a rare person who's qualified to follow the Vaitika Vidi. And the Vaitika Vidi, you have all sorts of mantras for performing, like horse sacrifices, Ashvamedha, Gomedha. Those are prohibited actually in Kali Yuga. So, anyway, I'm going to get to a little controversial point in a second. So, what are the Pancharatrika mantras? The Pancharatrika mantras are mantras given in glorification of Krishna that actually contain names of Krishna and glorify Krishna, or glorify the Guru, or glorify Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or glorify Srimati Radharani, that help connect you. Those are the mantras that we give at the time of second initiation. And Bhagawat Vidi is basically Krishna Katha. It's not really mantra chanting, other than chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Yes, chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is Bhagawat Vidi, but also preaching the glories of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, and all the literatures which glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead are considered under the jurisdiction of Bhagawat Vidi, or the path of Bhagawat Vidi. Prabhupada said in the Krishna consciousness movement, we follow Pancharatrika Vidi and Bhagawat Vidi. And Prabhupada compared these two Vidis, or paths, to be like two train tracks. He said if you have a train, and of course he wasn't referring to a monorail where you have just one rail, but if you have a train, generally it has two tracks. Keeps it pretty steady. So we have these two. So therefore, here's the point. In our Krishna conscious movement, we not only preach and talk about Krishna Katha, but we have to have some regulation. That's part of Vaidiki. That's part of Pancharatrika Vidi. Regulation, getting up early in the morning, cleansing at the right time, not only chanting the mantra. Chanting the mantra is part of that, but in order to chant the mantra properly, one has to cultivate the Shuddha Sattva or Vishuddha Sattva. So all this is connected with the Pancharatrika Vidi. So basically, if one just tries to follow Bhagawat Vidi and one's not free of anarthas, one will eventually succumb to the anarthas. If one is an absolute pure devotee, then all you have to do is Bhagawat Vidi. You just preach, you just chant your rounds like that. But deity worship, we're talking right now about deity worship and regulation, are essential in performing devotional service. And I often tell the story of how many years ago I traveled with a sannyasi, and we were thinking, now that we're traveling and preaching, which is Bhagawat Vidi, we don't have to follow Pancharatrika Vidi. We don't have to rise early in the morning. Of course, we should chant our rounds, we should follow the Four Regular Principles, but we're a little loose in offering, we offered everything to Krishna, certainly, but not through formal offerings. We chanted Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, and then we noticed that our consciousness was slipping. So therefore, we understood that for us, this Pancharatrika Vidi was essential, rising early in the morning. Even though we were preaching, though we were reading Bhagavatam, though we were studying Bhagavatam, hearing from Prabhupada, still the Pancharatrika Vidi was essential to maintain our status in devotional service. So, then we get to a controversial point. What I've mentioned so far is not controversial. So why do we chant a Vaitika mantra as part of our sadhana for those who were second initiated and those who have Brahman initiation. And part of that Vaidiki mantra is, one of the most important Vaidiki mantras, Vaitika, Vaidiki, which is Om, as Krishna says in the Gita, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu Shabdake Purasham Nishu. So there's two ways of understanding. What we're talking about is the Brahma Gayatri, the first Gayatri mantra, which I'm not going to give everybody online. But there's two ways of understanding that mantra. One is it can be understood as a Vaidiki mantra. Another way of understanding it is it's actually a Vaishnava mantra because it glorifies Krishna. The same thing with Om. Om is described how? A-U-M, Radha and Krishna and the living entity. Perfect. It's just like Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's how Prabhupada chanted. So the Hare Krishna mantra has us, has Radha and Krishna. Hare is Radharani. Krishna, of course, is Krishna. That's in the vocative. Both are in the vocative. But because they're in the vocative, we're there crying out. Oh, Krishna. Oh, Radharani. Oh, actually, oh, Radharani first. She comes first. She gets first notice. So, oh, Radharani, please engage me in your service to serve Krishna. So, that's Radha and Krishna and the living entity. That's the Hare Krishna mantra. So Om is the same thing. It's not impersonal, as many people say, or it's not just it is a Vaidika mantra, Vaidika mantra, Vaidiki mantra. It is, for sure, but it's also a Vaishnava mantra. This is interesting. So a mantra can actually be a Vaidika mantra, Vaidiki mantra, or a Vaishnava mantra. Or both. The same mantra. Wow, that's pretty cool. So therefore, we are not following the Vaitika Vidi in the Krishna consciousness movement because that's not our process. Nor are we qualified to follow that because we have not been born in pure Brahmin families. And incidentally, I have yet to find someone was born in a pure Brahmin family that never deviated in any way, shape, or form. Because a Brahmin loses, in this particular understanding, a Brahmin loses caste just by doing something. I mean, let's take Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, for example. Because what did they do? They're working for the Mohammedan government, and they had even taken Mohammedan names. They were Dabir Rakash and Shakara Malik, because they'd even taken those names. Therefore, it was understood they had lost their ritualistic Brahminical status. So can you imagine who has not done such a thing? Even if you're born in South India and then you happen to be working as a software engineer, you're an employee, then you've lost your status, your ability to perform the Vaitika Vidi. That's right. You've lost it. But you haven't lost, nor has anyone lost, their adhikar, their right to perform Pancharatrika Vidi and Bhagawat Vidi. So in this day and age, what is it? Ekon Dharma. There is one Dharma in this age. And that's Krishna Nam Sankirtan, which is performed according to the rules and regulations and enhanced our connection with the holy name. It's not the holy name is enhanced, but our connection with the holy name is enhanced by following the Pancharatrika Vidi. So that's how we deal with this apparent contradiction or controversy where people say that we should not be chanting the Vaidika mantras. But Vaidika mantras can be understood in a Vaishnava sense, and they can be utilized in the Pantrika sense and in the Bhagawat Vidi sense. Okay, got it? So that's very interesting. Of course, we're studying this on the GBC level because some people will not give Vaitika mantras, will not give the first line of Gayatri or even Gayatri mantras to those who work a job. Because if you work a job, you're actually working for someone who's not Krishna conscious, generally, unless you work for a devotee. However, I explained previously in the previous class that if one works a job, but his life is dedicated to serving his spiritual master, he or she is actually working for the spiritual master, not for the intermediate boss. Let's say you're working for Tesla, okay, and your intermediate boss happens to be Elon, good friend of mine. Your intermediate boss happens to be Elon. And so, are you working for him? No, because ultimately what you're doing is you're doing it for Krishna. I mean, for example, let's say you're cooking something and you have to pay the electric bill or the gas bill to cook, or to pay for to pay for the gas. Are you working for the electric company? No. You're working for the person who you're cooking for, who is Krishna. So that's the whole point. You have to see ultimately who you're working for and ultimately who your boss is. That determines whether you've actually lost your caste or you haven't lost your caste. Anyway, these are little complicated subject matters, but I think it's important to address them. Regarding mantra siddhyadi shodhana, the efficacy of the mantra Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives 16 divisions which are confirmed in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, beginning with 1, 204. Siddha Sadhya Sushidhari Kramadliyo Vichakshanayi. They are Siddha Sadhya. Siddha means perfection, Sadhya means the goal. Siddha means like the perfect goal. And Ari. These four principles can be divided further. Siddha Sadhya, Siddha Siddha, Siddha Ari, Sadhya Siddha, Sadhya Sushida, Sadhya Ari, Sushida Siddha, Sushida Sadhya, Sushida Ari, Ari Siddha, Ari Sadhya, Ari Siddha, and Ari. Those who are initiated with the 18-syllable mantra do not need to consider the above-mentioned 16 divisions as enjoined in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa 1, 215, 219, and 220. Thank God I don't have to remember all those. Nachatra Shatravadosha Naranashvadi Vicharana Riksharashi Vicharova Nakartavyo Manao Priye Natrachinjor Shudyadir Nari Mitradi Lakshanam Sirasaja Susidari Rupa Natra Vicharana. There is no shodhana or purification of the mantra, but there is shodhana or purification of the mantra, but there is no such consideration for the Krishna mantra. It's always pure. Balitvat Krishna mantranam samskarha pekshanam nahi. The Krishna mantra is so strong that there's no question of shodhana, purification of the mantra. That's from the Hari Bhakti Vilas 1, 235. So that's it. As far as Diksha is concerned, one should consult Madhya Lila 15.108. On the whole, when a person is initiated according to the Pancharachaka Vidi, he has already attained the position of a Brahman. This is enjoined in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. This is a famous verse. Yata kanchana tam yati kamsham rasavadanataha tatha diksha vidhanena dvijatvam jayate nrinam. As bell metal can be turned into gold when treated with mercury, a disciple initiated by a bona fide guru immediately attains the position of a brahmana. I mean, there's many different verses like this. So brahmana basically means, if you really get into the words, means one who knows Brahman. Either the impersonal Brahman, the localized Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagawan, the personality of Godhead. So many, many verses like Ahobata Swapachut Togi Gadiyan, that even if one's born in the family of a dog eater, if he's chanting the holy names, immediately comes to the. It's understood that he's actually performed all the preliminary practices and austerities, and immediately comes to the platform being a Brahmin. As far as the time of Diksha initiation is concerned, everything depends on the position of the Guru. As soon as a bona fide Guru is received by chance or by a program, one should immediately take the opportunity to receive initiation. In the book called the Tattva Sagara, it is stated, Durlabe Sadguru Nam Cha Sakrit Sangha Pastate Taranugja Yada Labda Sadikshava Saromahan Grameva Yadi Varanje Kshetreva Divasenishi Agachati Agachati Gurur Doivad Yatadikshatara Gyeha Yadaivecha Tadadiksha Guror Gyanu Rurpataha Natirtam Navratam Hemo Na Snanam Na Japakriya Dikshaya Karanam Kintu Swecha Prapte Tu Sadgurau. If by chance one gets a Sadguru, it doesn't matter whether one is in the temple or the forest. If the Sadguru, the bona fide spiritual master, agrees, one can be initiated immediately without waiting for a suitable time or place. Wow. Of course, in ISKCON, we do have certain restrictions. You have to examine. It's also mentioned you're supposed to examine prospective disciples first. Concerning Pratasmriti and remembrance of the Lord in the morning, in the early morning hours known as Brahma Muhurta, one should get up and immediately chant the Hare Krishna mantra, or at least Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. In this way, one should remember Krishna. Some shlokas or prayers should also be chanted. By chanting, one immediately becomes auspicious and transcendental to the infection of the material qualities. Actually, one who has to chant and remember Krishna 24 hours daily, or as much as possible, one has to, as much as possible. Smartavya satatam vishnor vismartavyo nakjatu chit sarve vidi nishedachur etayor eva kinkaraha. Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be the servants of these two principles. This is a quotation from the Padma Purana, from the portion called the Brihat Sahasranama Stotra. So this is very important. Prabhupada would often talk about this. You got two rules and regulations. All the other rules and regulations are subordinate to these two rules and regulations. What is the rule? Always remember Krishna. What is the second rule? Never forget him. Prabhupada would talk about this quite often. The word pratakritya in the present verse of the Caitanya Charitamrta means that one should evacuate regularly in the morning and then cleanse himself by taking a bath. One has to gargle, achaman, and brush his teeth. Danta, adavana. And this is what toothpaste is called, braja danta, which means like, braja means like a thunderbolt or lightning bolt teeth. He should do this either with twigs or a toothbrush, whatever is available. This will purify the mouth. Then one should take his bath. Actually, householders of Vanaprastha should bathe 2 times a day. Pratar Madhya Naho, Snanam Vanaprastha Grahastayoho. A sannyasi should bathe 3 times daily, and a brahmachari may take only 1 bath a day. Of course, let me explain that. Whenever one is not able to bathe in water, he can bathe by chanting a Hare Krishna mantra. One also has to perform his Sanjadi Vadana, that is, one has to chant his Gayatri mantra 3 times daily, morning, noon, and evening. So, when it says a brahmachari only bathes once a day, Prabhupada actually gave instructions that the devotee should bathe more than once a day. Anyway, so these are interesting things, like Prabhupada's taking different quotes from different acharyas, which apply to different circumstances. But a brahmachari should really be clean. That's one of the qualities. Brahmachari Guru Kuleva Sandanda Guroti Tam. He controls the senses. He's clean. Archiyan Dasavan Nicho. Danta Davana Snana Sandhyari Vandana Guru Seva Urdhva Pundra. There's tilak there. Chakradi Dharana. You should describe how in the morning one should regularly brush his teeth, take his bath, offer prayers to the Lord, offer obeisances to the spiritual master. One should also describe how one should render service to the spiritual master and paint one's body in 12 places with Urva Pundra tilak, as well as how one should stamp one's body with the holy names of the Lord or the symbols of the Lord, such as the disc and club. Prabhupada never really had us do the stamping, but some devotees do that. Actually, in some sampradayas, they not only stamp, they actually take a hot iron and brand the devotee at the time of initiation with the disc and the club on the arm, not on the face. Don't worry. They take this brand and they put it in the sacred fire, and wow, that is a painful initiation. So, Gopi Chandana Malya Trite Tulasiya Harana Vastra Pitta Graha Samskara Krishna Prabodhana. After this, you should describe how one should decorate his body with Gopi Chandana. Wear neck beads, jai, neck beads. Collect tulsi leaves from the tulsi tree. Cleanse his cloth on the altar, cleanse his own house or apartment, and go to the temple and ring the bell just to draw the attention of Lord Krishna. Wow. Mangalarti Jai. Panchashurasa Panchashat Upachare Archana Panchakala Pujarati Krishnera Bhojana Shayana. Also describe deity worship, wherein one should offer food to Krishna at least 5 times daily, and a due time place him on a bed. You should also describe the process for offering arti and the worship of the Lord according to the list of 5, 16, or 50 ingredients. The 5 ingredients for deity worship are: 1, very good, sense. So sometimes we offer sense at the end of arti, Mangal arti. 2, very good flowers. Flowers have to have some smell or else it's an offense. 3, incense. 4, a lamp. And 5, something edible, or for boga. As for Shopachara, the 16 ingredients, one should provide a sitting place. We do that. Ask Krishna to sit down. Offer argya, offer water to wash the legs, wash the mouth. Offer madhuparka, offer water for washing the mouth. Bathe the Lord, offer garments. We do these things. Decorate the Lord's body with ornaments, offer sweet scents. Offer flowers with good fragrance like the rose or champaka. Wish we had champaka here. Of course, we have a very nice devotee named Champaka, but we can't decorate the deity with her. She decorates the deities. Offer incense, offer a lamp, give some good food, and offer prayers. In the Hari Bhakti Vilasa, 11, 127 to 140, there's a vivid description of what is required in deity worship. There are 64 items mentioned, and the temple of worship should be so gorgeous that all 64 items should be available for the satisfaction of the personality of Godhead. Sometimes it's impossible to get all 64 items, therefore we recommend that at least on the first day of installation all 64 items should be available. We did that. When the Lord is established, worship with all 64 items should continue as far as possible. The 64 items are as follows. 1, there must be a big bell hanging in front of the temple room so that whoever comes to the room can ring the bell, or at least little bell. I remember some temples, the big bell, they ring the bell and it almost gives me a heart attack. They pull it. In Fiji, I had them tie the string up so they couldn't ring it. Because it was like, boom! Help! Because my ears are sensitive. This item is called prabodhana. And obviously, if you have an outside temple and it's a big temple, that may be good. But a little tiny room like our dome, it's not really necessary. You can have little tiny bells. Offering oneself submissively to the Lord. This is the first item, too. The visitor must chant Jai Shri Radha Govinda, Jai Shri Radha Lokananda, or Jai Shri Radha Madhava. When he rings the bell, in either case, the word Jai must be uttered. One should immediately offer obeisances to the Lord, falling down like a stick. We do that. There must be regular Mangalarti in the temple during the early morning, an hour and a half before the sun rises. There must be an asana, sitting place before the altar. This asana is for the spiritual master. We have that Vyasasana for Prabhupada. The disciple brings everything before the spiritual master, and the spiritual master offers everything to the Supreme Personality of God. At 6, after Mangalarti, the deity is supposed to wash his teeth by using a twig Therefore, a twig must be offered. Water must be offered for washing the deity's feet. Arghya should be offered. Water for Achaman should be offered. Madhuparka, a small bowl containing madhu, honey, a little ghee, a little water, a little sugar, yogurt, and milk should be offered. This is called Madhuparka Achaman. One should place wooden slippers before the Lord. One should massage the body of the Lord. One should massage the body of the Lord with oil. With a soft, wet sponge, one should remove all the oil smeared over the Lord's body. Now, sometimes you have big deities, you do all these things with the smaller deities. One should bathe the Lord with water in which nicely scented flowers have been soaking for some time. After bathing the body of the Lord with water, one should bathe him with milk. Of course, we can't do that every day, just on special days. Then one should bathe him with yogurt, again, special days. Then one should bathe him with ghee. Then one should bathe him with honey. Then one should bathe him with water in which sugar has been dissolved. And one should wash the deity with water and chant this mantra. This is from the Brahma Samhita. Chintamani pakata sadmasakalpa briksha lakshavrateshu sarvirabhipaliyantam lakshmi sahasrashata sambrahma sevyamanam govinda madhipurasham tamaham bhajami. 529 Brahma Samhita. One should dry the entire body of the Lord with a towel. A new dress should be put on the Lord's body. A sacred thread should be placed on his body. Water should be offered for cleansing his mouth. Achaman. Nicely scented oils like liquid sandalwood pulp should be smeared over the Lord's body. All kinds of ornaments and crowns should be placed on his body. Then one should offer flower garlands and decorative flowers. One should burn incense. Lamps should be offered. Precautions should always be taken so that demons and atheists cannot harm the body of the Lord. That's why we have a nice gate. Food offerings should be placed before the Lord. Spices for chewing should be offered. Betel nuts should be offered. We don't always do that. That's not necessary. At the proper time, there should be arrangements so that the Lord may take rest in a bed. You can do that with the small deities, or by meditation. The Lord's hair should be combed and decorated. First-class garments should be offered. First-class helmet should be offered. The garment should be scented. There should be kaustubha jewels and other ornaments offered. A variety of flowers should be offered. Another Mangalarti should be offered, I guess the next day, or the Bhoga Arti. A mirror should be offered. The Lord should be carried on a nice palanquin to the altar. That's when you have real small deities. The Lord should be seated on the throne. Again, water should be given for the washing of his feet. Something again should be offered for the eating. Evening arti should be offered. The Lord should be fanned with a chamra fan, and an umbrella should be placed over his head. The Hare Krishna mantra and approved song should be sung. Musical instruments should be played. One should dance before the deity. One should circumambulate the deity. One should again offer obeisances. One should offer different types of prayers and hymns of the Lord's lotus feet. One should touch the lotus feet of the Lord with one's head, if one's a pujari and authorized. This may not be possible for everyone, but at least the pujari should do this. 57. The flowers offered on the previous day should touch one's head. One should take the remnants of the Lord's food, prasadam. One should sit before the Lord and think that he is massaging the Lord's feet. One should decorate the Lord's bed with flowers before the Lord takes his rest. One should offer one's hand to the Lord. One should take the deity to his bed. One should wash the feet of the Lord and then sit him on the bed. One should place the Lord on the bed and then massage his feet. Arti should be offered to the deities 5 times daily. Early in the morning before sunrise, later in the morning, at noon, in the evening, at night. This means, so we do this 5 times. Many temples they do 6 times. We do 5 times. This means there should be worship and a change of dress and flowers. As far as the eatables are concerned, all items should be first-class preparations. There should be first-class rice, dal, fruit, sweet rice, vegetables, and a variety of foods to be sucked, drunk, and chewed. All the eatables offered to the deities should be extraordinarily excellent. In Europe and America, there is presently no monetary scarcity. People are not poor, and if they follow these principles of deity worship, they will advance in spiritual life. As far as placing the deity in the bed is concerned, if the deity is large and heavy, it is not possible to move him daily. It is better that a small deity, which is also worshipped, be taken to the bed. This mantra should be chanted, Agacha Shayanam Stanam Priyabhi Saha Keshava. Keshava, kindly come to your bed along with Srimati Radharani. That's from the Hari Bhakti Vilas. The deity should be placed in bed with Srimati Radharani, and this should be indicated by bringing the wooden slippers from the altar to the bedside. When the deity is laid down, his legs should be massaged. Before laying the deity down, a pot of milk and sugar should be offered to him. After taking this thick milk, the deity should lie down and should be offered betel nuts and spices to chew. Okay, very, very interesting description. So we went from 330 to 335, because it's very long purports. And probably tomorrow we'll finish this chapter, but I can't say that for sure. So now we'll stop sharing and take some questions after we. Whoops. Hold on a second. I have to unmute. Allow you all to unmute. Okay. All right. So who wants to ask a question? Question, comment, argument. No arguments, please. Problems that you experience in your spiritual life. Oh, Padam Raj. Okay, you have a question, so you can unmute yourself.
Please accept my Himalaya obeisances on your lotus feet, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Yeah, today's lecture is blown up mind and the heart. It is very, very important on our spiritual life. Yeah, and I saw like the spirituals, like whoever on this path, they are beings. Somehow they concern about the like they keeping the pet animals. Even they go to the temple or do everything that you guys described. So what sort of consequences that they brings even they are like
They're keeping, they're keeping animals like they have a dog in their house or something. Is that the question?
no, they being like that they like as in the devotional service, they keeping the pet animals like the fish, dog, or the cat on the houses, and like it's the different consequences that are gonna brought up or the conclude at the end.
Well, I don't want. It's a little controversial. It's not something I really want to get into. Everybody has their own needs. Uh, I don't have any pets in my house.
Yeah, but yes,
but
that's
but but they can have a pet outside if they want. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. I mean, it's pretty controversial, and people do have emotional needs. I mean, just like recently, I was talking to one devotee today, which remained nameless. Uh, that right now, I just came back from flying. I was just in an airplane today, and there were many people with pets in the airplane, and they call in America. I don't know if it's like that in Australia, but in America they fly with their pets because they give them emotional support. And how can I criticize someone? I mean, in Kali Yuga, I think we just have to be careful because in Kali Yuga people have a lot of emotional problems,
yeah.
and so it's probably better than going to a psychiatrist. I would I would prefer a dog or a cat to a psychiatrist because at least the dog and cat is not going to tell you to do crazy things, whereas the psychiatrist may encourage you just to do crazy things.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna bring like if we keep the any pet animals, there is attachments with these animals because end of the day
yes,
we have to
yeah,
look
then
after them with them.
we may become cats and dogs in the next life if we become too attached.
That's not we
But
looking
I don't
for
want
it.
to. I really don't want to get into criticizing because everybody has their own needs,
Yeah, that's right,
uh,
Maharaj.
and people have emotional issues and needs. I mean, there was one devotee I was talking to today. When I first met him, he was traveling all over the United States with a cat in a box, and so then now he's a great devotee.
Yeah,
He- Sometimes, but anyway, now he's a great devotee. So sometimes people need little things. It's not. I'm happy if people chant Hare Krishna, and I mean certainly I keep everything very clean. I try to in my house, and I don't have a pet hamster or a pet cockroach or a pet. What pets? I have actually I have pets, but they're actually made of. They're actually dolls. I have a cow here as a pet, and but it's a doll. It's a little
Yeah.
cow. So that's all right. All right, good
Right.
question. All right, so who else has a question? Who else wants to have a pet here? Anybody else?
Does chanting Hare Krishna purifies an area, or does it keep negative people away from you? Because I realize I've been chanting for almost 2 years, and since I've started chanting, I was hoping it would like draw people closer to me, but for some reason it pushed certain people away. So it has this effect. So that's why I'm trying to clarify it. I hope it's not just me, but
Well, sometimes, so yeah, when you chant, you become so purified that sometimes, sometimes people just can't take it. Like if something's too bright, people want to put their sunglasses on or run away. Like if the sun is too bright. So sometimes it does that. But generally, when you chant, you actually start loving everybody. So it's not a problem. So, but it takes time, and you like Dira Dira Jana Priyo Priyakaro, like described about the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. They were dear to everybody, and they loved everybody. So they had no enemies. Like Prabhupada basically had no enemies. So the more you chant, the more you get purified. And the more you chant with intensity and devotion, the more you get purified. So just keep on chanting, and you'll see the results are there. Here's another one. Accept my respectful obeisances. We are not supposed to miss Gayatri, right? If we miss Gayatri, what should we do? No, don't miss. Just do it. You can't make up Gayatri. Gayatri is not like this is for people who are second initiation. Gayatri mantra is not really meant to Gayatri mantra is not really meant to like be the Maha mantra that you can make up and chant all three or two. It's good to remember it. I just remember, set your watch, put an alarm on your watch, so beep beep, Gayatri Gayatri, and there's some leeway. You can chant a little later in the middle of the day if you're at work, but somehow or other chant. But don't chant while you're driving the car. That's really bad. I've seen people chant, hold their thread up while they're driving the car, and then the thread can have the tendency to get entangled in the steering wheel. And there's certain places you shouldn't chant. Can we chant Gayatri before morning bathing after mouthwash? Yes, as long as you wash your mouth and hands and say Achman, it's all right. You wash your mouth, brush, but why not bathe? I mean, I get up in the morning, I take a bath. It's moochie not to take a bath. I wake up in the morning and I drink some water first thing in the morning. Actually, that's what I do first thing in the morning when I wake up, so that you can evacuate, you can cleanse your system. I drink like 2 glasses of water, and then after that, you do your morning ablutions, and then you're ready to chant and go to the temple, whatever. Okay, enough kata. Oh no, another message. Let's see. There was another message about bathing. Okay, that's just thank you, Gurudev. Okay, we'll see everybody tomorrow evening. All glories, or tomorrow morning, depending where you are in the world. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada.